Alright guys, it is leg day. We are 12 weeks out. This session itself is much like any other. It's another hard leg day, getting after it. There should be absolutely zero reason why anything changes at this stage. It's the same patterns of movements. It's the same goal every single session. Perfect accuracy combined with that level of intensity that I bring to every single session, and that's what I think that really will set you apart on stage, is the ability to create intensity with accuracy the whole way throughout the prep. And you'll see nothing different from me. You know, you'll never see anything different on that front. So from a training standpoint, this will be a session in which I'll take you through sort of some of my thought processes currently with leg training, whether anything has slightly been modified over the course of this prep in terms of volume. I'll run you through that, and equally I'll run you through a little bit of setup as well, because see, training with Loz is at an experience level where she needs a little bit more cueing on a few things. So I'll cue on a few things, and hopefully that can be applicable to you guys. But yeah, we'll run through it and enjoy the ride as always. So you'll see me obviously in these videos do a little bit of both mental and physical preparation before training. So the Stairmaster, the sitting down at the chair before the session with the logbook, most of that's mental preparation, and then this is more so the physical side. So when you look at every session, you've got to look at it as an opportunity. It's an opportunity in your off season to progress, to produce that stimulus to add new tissue. In a prep, it's an opportunity to retain tissue. Do you want to take that opportunity or not? The seriousness of your application with the readiness side of things will dictate how well that session goes. It's an opportunity every time. Your decision how you choose to make that opportunity happen or not. I've been doing recently, and I must give credit where credit's due on this one from my close friends Luke and Nick, is more so pre-planning progressions within a particular session. So I'm thinking as I'm coming in, okay, how fatigued am I today? What's the cross transfer of previous sessions? What was my sleep like? Most of these variables are already very sort of pre-contained and consistent, but nevertheless, fatigue is a constantly adaptive process throughout a contest prep. So for me coming in today, I feel really, really good. I had a little bit of a day out of routine yesterday for Cuba's birthday. We went out and did something different. There was a lot of travel. But I know today, based on how I feel, I can pre-plan out my logbook numbers and pretty much focus on, at bare minimum, retention on last session. So I've got retention in my mind. If there's a rep here or there, I will take it. I think that's really important when you're at this stage. It's just almost having an idea, a clear vision in your head of what the session's going to look like. If you don't logbook, fair play, but I still think you should vision your sessions very deeply before you go into them. Pro tip for the adductor: wear joggers, because you can slip out of the machine. I found out when you wear shorts, your leg sticks to it, so it like ends up like pulling your leg all the way out. But yeah, that was the match on my own, and then I took a +1 today with self-assistance. So it felt fresh. +1's there. a little bit of a touch in the end range where it gets really, really hard to lock out. And then, and that's it. Good first set of the day. Always nice to start with a good bit of momentum. Comes down, take one more, brace now. There you go, now go, now go, now go, now go. Yes, 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 yes. Good, done. So basically every single movement in the gym, you're resisting a counter force. So whenever there's a counter force in play, bracing has to be a part of that for you to be enabled to change direction efficiently. Loz there wasn't bracing at all on her eccentric portion. So as a result, when she's trying to resist that counter force of the weight just pulling her legs apart, she can't. You know, she's losing that ability to create a change of direction. So don't just think that bracing applies on big compounds. It applies pretty much everywhere where we're trying to resist a change in direction or a force pulling us in another way. So pretty much if you learn bracing patterns, you'll learn that they apply to pretty much every single movement in the gym. Day, Prime Fitness seated hamstring curl. This particular hamstring curl features in this session, and then we have the Life Fitness one in the other, just simply for variation. A lot of people ask, you know, oh, what's your favorite? What's your favorite? Me, it's always going to be the Prime. It feels a little more comfortable. You can get more in the stretch as well, so you can get a completely lengthened hamstring here. Which is very rare for a seated leg curl because most of them actually bottom out in a position in which your hamstring isn't fully lengthened. So that's why a lying leg curl typically is better to lengthen the hamstring, or of course a hip hinge. So we did 2 sets, both of which, well, Loz took an assisted rep on the second because she's got more recovery capacity than me. But for me, I took a forced on the first one just because we loaded it in setting 1 on the cam, which means that it's quite an even resistance profile. It's also quite difficult to get short. So on the last couple where I've already fatigued the hamstring in the shortened position, Loz just comes in to give me a couple there. Not something that's going to drive a massive amount of fatigue, but something that might give us a little bit of 1%, 2% better stimulus, which is something that we want at this stage. So 2 very good sets today. 15, 15, again, go, 16, 16, again, come on, 17, 17, good, done. Loaded in the short, so again, quads are fresh, so we've got the opportunity to load them in the short. So we're making sure that we spend a lot of time there, you know, a good 2 count. That's why we're counting for each other. There's no special reason for doing this, particularly like this end of the session. It makes sense. Latter end of the session, not so much, just because your quads will already be so smashed from all your other work that holding in a contraction, both the neurological side of things and the physical, you won't be able to spend enough time there to really make it quality. So this is why we sort of cut this at the start. One, let's go. Up, up, up.
Come on, AJ.
Let's go forward. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Oh, yeah. Let's go. Oh, yes. Let's go. Come on.
Okay, come on.
Yep.
Oh, you. Oh, you. Come on. I'm in out. Let's fucking go. And drive! Yes! Good. Yes! Fucking great. Yes!
Those are the ones where you capped it at 1 step. You left everything on the table. You do all the rest, you avoid that point. Yeah?
I can take a slight forward before we take the direction.
Like, how are you going to go right forward?
Let's go!
Again. Come on. This loss is like permanent position during leg days. So we moved away from the hack. Today just took one set on the hack as, like I said, left nothing on the table. When you have a set like that, we just move away, we move on. Again, like I said at the start, it's sort of, volume is an ever-changing landmark. When you absolutely nail a set, you know you can move on to the next exercise, knowing full well that pretty much the back off's going to be a little redundant. It's all it's going to do is just create unnecessary fatigue. But at the end of the day, it's going to have a cross transfer into not only the next leg session, so from an acute fashion, but it's also going to have a systemic demand as well that's going to lead into my next push session, my next pull session. And I think the biggest key there, the biggest take home is always think ahead as a bodybuilder. Don't just think like right now within this moment, session to session. Think about what's happening tomorrow, what's happening the next day, from a training standpoint. Now we're moving on to the leg press. So one thing here, seat positioning. You've seen me do a warm up with the seat position back. I just wanted to try how it felt, but what a lot of people get confused with is that they think, oh, I'll shift the seat position back, I'll just get more range. More range is better. If more range puts you in a compromised position, that range is redundant. That range isn't a safe range for you to visit. Both me and Loz tried that seat position all the way back, and all we're seeing is a hip shift. All we're seeing is a displacement of force at the bottom, so our hips are coming off the bottom of the pad. We're not able to produce our most intentful force on that pad, on that platform. And as a result, we're getting a lower stimulus from that. We're also getting a higher degree of risk. So we move the seat pad up and be in a comfortable position and be in a place where our hips don't shift, we don't get that displacement of force, and we can apply absolutely everything into ruining our quads. That's the goal of the exercise. The goal is not knees until they hit your forehead. That might happen with some people in their own biomechanics, but in this instance, that seat position, the depth you see within these sets, is probably adequate for our own biomechanics. Just hate that endurance training if you can.
Keep working. Come on, let's go. Yeah, good. Come on. Stay tight. It's yours. Yeah, and again. Come on. Fucking now. Come on. Out, 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 out. And again. Brace fucking hard. Put yourself in tight. Let's go. Right. Yeah, 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 yeah.
On the quads. Again. Good. Yes. Yes. Fight for one at least. Drive. Again. Yes, yes, yes. Again. Again. Go. One. Breathe. Yeah. Alright, so spoke about this before actually in a video that Josh filmed in Dubai, how a lot of people will switch to low volume, or they'll look at low volume training, they'll look at the fact that we've done one set hack and one set leg press and say, oh, like, I wouldn't grow off of that. But the reason why you wouldn't grow off that is you can't do sets like that. You know, you can't combine intensity and accuracy all the way to the end of a set. There is a weakness in the chain, because I'm telling you right now, if I had to do any more work than I did today, I would not be ready for my next session. So I am working to my absolute max recovery demand, or recovery capability, sorry. And that is very, very low threshold work, because over time I've just got better at training. So if you work on your ability to train, watch your volume just come down and down and down. Yeah, and just train with people. Like, this is my biggest tip. Again, I've said it multiple times, but train with people that can train more accurately and harder than you. Because that's how you quickly get to that level. If you want to get to a higher level in business, surround yourself with people that are ahead of you. It's the same in bodybuilding. So last 3 exercises really, we've got glute drive, seated calf and abs. So first of all, rationale on the glute drive. Just trying to dial in the glutes really. Just trying to get that etch that detail in. Now, in all honesty, there is actually some truth in that, because when you think about it, detail starts with muscle. So doing an exercise where you isolate a muscle group and you build more muscle there will bring in that muscle more. But what you're going to realize is that, especially for a natural, the muscle's built in the off season. So we're not building muscle now. So we're not bringing in detail by doing a specific movement. You know, you can't etch in detail with an exercise. You etch in detail with a calorie deficit. It's energy balance. You know, so stay in the deficit, the detail will come as long as you have the muscle there. Seated calves, I've taken my calf training a lot more seriously than recent years, and it's definitely paid off, funnily enough. Hey presto, you know, you take something seriously and it pays off, right? So yeah, calves, just focusing on actually like making sure I pay attention to a little bit more of the logbook numbers and just being really, really accurate, not just like going through the motions at the end, and I definitely think they're bigger than recent years. They've never been a weak point, so I've never really like chased carbs, but I think they're a bit stronger, so that's good. And then abs, I do abs every leg day and every full day, and train your abs, guys. See a lot of people on stage with no midsection detail, and that's not because they've not dieted hard enough, it's because they have not got the muscle there. Again, everything starts with muscle, so if you don't have the muscle, you're not going to get the condition. So train your abs just like any other body part. So we're just wrapping up another session and pretty much another day. I always like to pretty much like after sessions just reflect a little bit on the day itself, how effective it was towards the goals that I've got in place at the moment, and today was another one of those good ones. You know, pretty much everything just sort of flowing at the moment, momentum building, and I think contest preps are just a lot about exactly that. You know, it's momentum. It's how much momentum you can build over the long run. It's not a short thing, especially a natural bodybuilding prep. You know, we're already coming up to like 14 weeks deep, and we've got plenty of time left until the first show, and then we've got shows that follow along that. So it really is a case of just continuing this built momentum. And I did say after the leg press that in bodybuilding it's actually important to think about, you know, the future, and I actually want to recap on that and remind you guys that when you're in the gym and you're thinking session to session, and you're thinking about fatigue and accumulation of soreness, etc., that is important, 100%. But when you're actually in the day-to-day process of bodybuilding, you need to just stay in the moment. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people are worried way too much about whether they're going to be in condition in 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Okay, I'm 6 weeks out, I should be here. And then they're just constantly thinking in the distant future that they actually failed to enjoy what is going on right now. And you know, for me, every day I remind myself how lucky I am to do what I do, just bodybuild. You know, wake up and do something I actually love. You know, not just from a perspective of me as an athlete, but me as a coach as well. I wake up motivated. I wake up just pumped to do what I do, and that's an absolute blessing. You know, so regardless of the amount of food on my plate or the amount of steps I have to do, whatever it takes to get into, you know, the condition that I want to be in for this year's shows, that's a mere minor thing in my mind. You know, that's not something I'm worried about or stressed about or concerned about at all. I'm just focused on just enjoying the day to day, you know, and being blessed to do what I do. So, you know, so many people in this world that are so much worse off than us, and yet still so many bodybuilders complain about having a low calorie diet which is full of micronutrients and is still a very sufficient diet, and being able to train in epic gyms, being able to sleep 9-8 hours underneath a roof. You know, it's getting a bit deep now, but you get the idea. Just like try and enjoy bodybuilding. You know, because that's ultimately the reason why you should be doing this. You know, I don't do this for this. I don't do it for the camera. I train like this every single day, regardless of whether there's a camera on me or not. And I hope you guys know that. I'm pretty sure you do anyway. So, a little bit of a final plug. This episode should come out about a week before these are live. So, if you do want to support what I do and you want to sort of represent, these are big on representing an ethos, representing an idea of bodybuilding, you know, like the way that I like to train, the way that I like to approach things. That is Be Epic, you know, that's what I stand for. So if you want to represent that, then you know, maybe buy a t-shirt. So when they do go live, I'll go back to this video and put a link so you can go and grab them. I appreciate any support that I do get, so thank you very much in advance. And yeah, we'll keep you updated along the way. Loz has actually just started a short diet as well. She's actually doing some HIIT at the moment on the stairs, so I'm pretty sure she wouldn't have wanted to be in this post leg day wrap up with the Stairmaster Glow. But yeah, she's getting on really good, and we'll start to sort of, I know a lot of people are requesting sort of seeing a little bit more of Loz's process as well, and I'm happily going to share that with you guys. So because obviously I coach Loz, she's my partner, so training partner, relationship, you know, everything. So I'm happy to share along the journey with her as well. Planning to get her on stage in 2023, so it's going to be a cool one to follow also. But yeah guys, I'll stop rambling away, and thank you very much for tuning in, and we will speak in the next episode.